Hey, this is Brian with ActiveMelody.com. So this week we have a funky minor key rhythm thing. There's some fill licks thrown in and a little bit of a solo at the end. This is all played in the key of C minor, and I'm going to break it down and show you how to do it note for note and give you a lot of ideas for things you can do when playing or improvising in a minor key. So I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this video we'll take a look at the first half. If you'd like to watch the second half, download the tablature, download the MP3 jam track, which I have in multiple tempos. You can get all of those things by going to ActiveMelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP359. Alright, so you may not know this, but at my website, ActiveMelody.com, we have a lot more than just lessons. We have a very interactive community of site members that get together and they do posts and share content and all that stuff every day. That's in the forum, so you can get there by going to ActiveMelody.com/forums, or you can find the forum link in the top menu. But my point in mentioning that is that every month we do a site member challenge, and we've done this for many, many years now. And the site member challenge is just a way for me to issue a video, which is a challenge. It's not a competitive thing, it's just a challenge for you to challenge yourself, really more than anything. But it's a way that we can all post videos and audio files of ourselves playing the same kind of thing, and we can give each other encouragement, and it's just a really cool way to sort of have a stage, a virtual stage, to play for other people. And so that's really what that's all about. And it also helps you grow as a guitar player by having these deadlines that happen every month. So come and join us if you haven't. And my point in mentioning all of that is for the April Site Member Challenge, I put out a jam track that had bass and drums, but it had nothing else. There was no lesson that went with it. I just wanted to see what site members would come up with on their own. I mentioned it was going to be in a minor key, but that was about it. And so we had over 70 different submissions from all around the world. It was great seeing and hearing everybody. And so what this lesson is, this is going to be my contribution to playing over that jam track. I'm going to take the same jam track and just do what I would do and make a lesson out of it. And that way it sort of pulls it all together. And so if you want to check out what everyone else did, you can go to the forums and look at the consolidated, it's called the Consolidated Active Melody Member Challenge Post Archive. It's a link when you go into forums. If you scroll down, you'll see that. And Don Deering, one of our members, who's super active, great guy in the community, he consolidates all of those. So you can see 3 pages worth of everybody's submissions if you want to do that. All right, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Let's talk about the lesson then. So this lesson is in C minor, and we're going to be playing a lot of triads. And most of what we're going to be doing, at least at the start of this, is rhythmic. And it's a up-down motion with the right hand that doesn't break. So it looks like this. So the first thing you want to do before you even jump into fretting notes is just get that right hand. And you can slow this down. You don't have to play along with the jam track to start with. You could just try and get a consistent rhythm with the right hand just to kind of feel it. It's almost like you're playing drums for a little bit. Now, what I do on top of that is this rhythmic thing with the left hand. Now, what I'm doing to fret is I'm playing a C minor chord, but I'm just playing the top 3 strings out of it. It's just a triad. It makes it a lot easier. And you'll find that in a lot of funk and rhythmic playing like this, you're either playing 2 notes or 3 notes. You don't really go much past that because you don't need to. The rest of the band is carrying everything else. So I've got my index finger on the 3rd fret, 1st string, my middle finger is on the 4th fret, 2nd string, my ring finger is on the 5th fret, 3rd string. It's a little stair step there. And you can see that that is part of your C minor chord. If you were to play it using the A minor chord shape right here where you bar on the 3rd fret, just play those top 3 strings. That's what I'm doing there. So that's what I'm strumming when I have my right hand going up and down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to slide into that. So that's the C minor, but we're going to start down a half step and slide in, slide the whole chord in. So it's a downstroke with the right hand, and that starts the rhythm. So as soon as you brush those strings, you're starting the rhythm. And that's the first thing we're going to learn. And if I were to just call out the notes that I'm playing, it's down, down, up, down, up. Let me do that again. Down, down, up, down, up. So you might want to write that down if you need to. But really, this is something that you just feel. As long as you've got that right hand in motion and you never break, you just keep it going. Now, hear all those muted strokes in between, those muted strums? What I'm doing for that is I'm just resting my fingers on the strings. They're still in position just like they were, but I'm not pushing down. If I kept it pushed down, it would sound like that. But what gives it that percussive rhythmic element is by pushing down and then doing a mute with the left hand. So that's the first thing you want to learn, is just to get that rhythm down. So now the next thing that I do after that, hear that little, what that is, that's a D minor chord. But here's your takeaway. This is what I want you to get out of this. If you're playing in a minor key, if you're playing a minor chord and you're looking for little fill, variations, things you can do to make your rhythm sound more interesting, you can take that minor chord, minor triad, and you can go up 2 frets. That would be on pretty much any minor chord. So what I'm doing, even though I'm playing a D minor there, I'm not really concerned with that. I'm not even thinking about that. I just know that if I'm playing this shape and I'm playing a minor chord, I can go up 2 frets and just hit that. In fact, I could even hang out on that D minor chord and it's going to work. The reason for that is that would be the 2 chord. If we were looking at the minor scale, 1, 2, 3, so your 2 would be that D minor. And so that's why it works from a theory perspective, but all you have to remember is you've got this thing you can do where you go 2 frets up. A sidebar to that, and I've mentioned that I think maybe even a couple weeks ago, is if I'm playing a major chord, so if I was playing C major, I can go down 2 frets and play a major chord and work that in the same way with a rhythm. And it works the same way. So if you're major, you can go down 2 frets and work that in. If you're minor, you can go up 2 frets. So just a little sidebar, and we could go further with it, but I think that's enough to at least give you some ideas for things you can do. Okay, so backing up, here's what I played. I played this. So that's where the second time through is where I go into that D minor chord. Right now, but when you look at the tab, you're not going to see me list out the D minor because I just looked at all of that as a C minor. That's just something, even though I'm playing the D minor chord there, technically it's just a C minor that's going on with a jam track. Now we're going to repeat. We're going to go back. The fourth time through, I came up here. Now let me show you how to play it, and I'll show you what's going on there. So I'm barring on the 8th fret, strings 1 and 2, and then I put my ring finger on the 11th fret, string 2, and play those 2 notes. And then there's a muted up and down stroke on strings 1 and 2. And then I slide my ring finger, so I keep the bar there on the 8th fret. My ring finger goes to the 11th fret, 10th fret, and then comes off. So it goes like this. That's just a little embellishment off of that C minor. Now, some of you may be having a hard time already trying to figure out what's going on with the timing and how many ups and downs and all that. If you're a premium member, you have access to the tablature, and I've got all of that, including the muted strum, so you can see exactly how many to do if you want to be super precise. You don't have to be super precise, though. I try and always preach that, because if you're playing this live or playing this in a jam or whatever, you would maybe do it a little different every time. But the one thing that you would do the same is keep that right hand in motion. That would always be the same. So this is when I was playing that, I was thinking about the C minor chord up here. So we're using different chord shapes out of the cage system. So we have a C minor chord here, and now I'm playing out of this shape. So that'd be your E minor shape. So this would be your A minor shape. Look at these 3 fingers. And then we're up here, and these 2 fingers are making the E minor shape. When I'm in that position, I have minor pentatonic pattern 1 right there off of where that bar would be. So when I play these 2 notes, this note is in the minor pentatonic scale pattern 1, and so is this note. Now I realize when I slide down to here that this note is not in the minor pentatonic scale. Just think of it as a passing note. And then I come back down to the 8th fret where both of those notes are in that minor pentatonic scale. So that's why they work. It's just a fill lick. I'm just playing some notes out of that minor pentatonic scale, but to fatten it up and give it more of a rhythmic sound, I'm playing 2 notes at once by including that 8th fret first string. All right, let's back it up from the beginning. We have... Now we're going to the 4 chord, which is your F minor. So C minor is the 1 chord, the 4 chord will be the F minor if we're playing a minor 1, minor 4. Then I'm going to play the same thing, the same minor triad, just like we did here, but I'm thinking of the F minor chord up here as opposed to down here. And I'm playing that same little stair step triad there. Index finger on the 8th fret 1st string, middle finger on 9th fret 2nd string, ring finger 10th fret 3rd string. And we're going to slide into this the same way we did for the C minor. So it goes like this. And then I come up to this, I go up 2 frets, which would be a G minor. It's the same concept though, of going up 2 frets. And I just hang out and stay on that G minor. It's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Let me do that slowly. All right, and that's what I played over the 4 chords. So you can see that I only stayed on the F minor a little bit of the time, and then I went up to the G minor, but it still worked. It worked just fine with the jam track. So just doing that to give you that idea that you can always go up those 2 frets and play that. So after that, we go back down to the C minor in this position, the one we started with. And then I played. Now this is a double stop, so we've got 1 finger on the 8th fret 2nd string, 1 finger on the 6th fret 1st string. So that would be shape 1. Shape 2 looks like this. So now we're going to put 1 finger on the 5th fret 1st string, 1 finger on the 6th fret 2nd string. So you have shape 1, shape 2, slide that down 2 frets. So you have, and what that is that would be your, you could think of your pentatonic scales for the key of C. So there's your pattern 1 up here, right? And then this would be like pattern 5, the pattern right behind it. And then we're going down into pattern 4. So that's how I'm thinking of that. I'm just thinking minor pentatonic blues licks. And then I'm going to keep playing the licks and go. So this, that's the 5th fret 3rd string, 3rd fret 3rd string, 5th fret 4th string. And then we're going to go down 2 frets, and that'd be 3, 1 on the 4th string, 3, 1 again, but that would be on the 5th string. So we have. All right, now all of that, all of this is pattern 4 of the minor pentatonic scale for C, C minor. Then that would be pattern 5. So what's cool is at this point the song switches to a D sharp or an E flat chord. So it goes into, which is a major chord. And then it goes up to an F, and then we go back to the C minor. So I threw in that E flat, F. E flat is the relative major to C minor. So if we're playing the C minor chord up here, for example, and that's your C minor note, you can always go this direction, 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, and that's your relative major. Same is true if you're trying to find the relative minor of a chord. You play that major chord and you go this way 3 frets. So you go 1, 2, 3, right? Anyway, so E flat or D sharp is your relative major chord. My point in mentioning that is now that C minor pentatonic scale, all those licks are now D sharp or E flat major pentatonic scale, the same notes. So that's the cool thing about a chord, a minor chord in its relative major or a major chord in its relative minor, is they both share the same pentatonic. It depends on the chord. That's what gives it the context. So if I play a D sharp or an E flat chord, and I play those same minor pentatonic scale notes that I was just playing for C, listen how different they sound. They sound very happy. They don't sound bluesy at all. So that makes it very easy when you're soloing and improvising. You can just stay in the same space, and that's something you'll get over time. Your ear will tell you, okay, that's the relative major. It's a very obvious thing when it happens, once you get used to it. So we came down to that 1st fret 5th string. The next note is the 1st fret 4th string. Now after that I went. So we're staying in the same pentatonic, but now obviously since the chords have changed, this would be your D sharp or E flat major pentatonic. We're going to do a slide from the 3rd fret 4th string to the 5th fret 4th string. And then we're going to play 3rd fret 3rd string, back to the 5th fret 4th string, a hammer-on between the 3rd fret and the 5th fret on the 3rd string. Okay, now after that, so all of that was played over that D sharp. And then it goes up 2 frets to the F. So what I ended up playing from a lead perspective was this. I slid my pentatonics up 2 frets. I knew the chords went up 2 frets, so the same thing can happen with the pentatonics. So I'm picturing that F chord right there. So that's the 5th fret 4th string, slide up to the 7th fret on the 4th string, and then your index finger plays the 6th fret 2nd string. So you're skipping the 3rd string, you're going from the 4th to the 2nd string. And those 2 notes, it's a harmonized 6th, those would be in that F chord, if you look at the F chord there. That's one way to think of it. Let's back it up from the beginning and play up to that point, just to put it all in context. Okay, so after we slid into that 6th fret 2nd string, my ring finger hits that note, which would be the 8th fret 3rd string. And then I get into position and play the minor pentatonic scale, because the chord goes back to the C minor then. So that I just go back to pattern 1 and play Albert King. So that 8th fret 3rd string, and then I go to the 8th fret, to the 10th fret 3rd string, bend and release, not a full bend, it's like a half bend. And actually that's a bend, release, and then a pull off. And I do a hammer on to the 10th fret 4th string. And then I come up to the 8th fret 1st string, very Albert King kind of lick. Okay, so after you hit the 8th fret 1st string, I went and hit the C minor triad up here. I hit it twice, down, muted down, and up. Like that. And so that is just another position to play the C minor chord. So every C minor we've been playing thus far when we're talking about a chord or a triad is down here in this position using that A minor triad. Well, now I'm playing it up here on the 8th fret. That's the same as your E minor shape, but we're just playing the top 3 strings. So now so remember this, when you're playing a minor chord, you've got a triad here and a triad here. Those are 2 easy to find, easy to play triads. Okay, so we have, and then we throw in the classic Albert. That's a walk down of the minor pentatonic scale for C, so it's C minor pentatonic, 11th fret 2nd string, 8th fret 2nd string. Then we go 10th fret 3rd string, 8th fret 3rd string, so 10th fret 4th string. And then that last note there is the 8th fret 3rd string. Now you want to pay attention to that note. It seems like a subtle thing, but it makes a big difference. When you play the note and you give it some vibrato, or you shake the string, you're going to want to push it sharp while you're giving it vibrato. It almost sounds wrong when I do it that way. I'm over-exaggerating, but what I'm trying to do is, instead of playing it right on the note, you're you're pushing it up a little bit. That's a very classic blues thing to do, where you're kind of getting closer to making it a major. But you're floating in between the minor. So it'd be C minor, right? C major. But you're going in between the two. But like that. It sounds kind of wrong, but when you listen to someone like Albert King, that's the technique. And it just gives it that feel. And after that I went and hit that C minor triad right there 2 more times. Now I'm going to wrap up this part 1 video right there. I think that's covered quite a bit of material. There's a whole lot more to this lesson in part 2, so if you're not a premium member, I'd encourage you to come over. You'd have access to the jam track, which I have in multiple tempos. You have all that support material to go along with this, tablature, everything. So let me back up and play along with this one more time. So I'll play through it slowly, and then I'll see you in part 2. Okay, so we have